The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched as far as the eye could see. Thousands of alien beings from across the galaxy filled the massive space. Some floated in tanks of liquid. Others stood on legs that looked like tree branches. A few hung from the ceiling with wings that sparkled like jewels. In the center of it all, Ambassador Vexstar stepped forward. His green skin looked wet under the bright lights. Sharp teeth showed when he opened his mouth to speak. His yellow eyes looked around the room with anger. "Fellow council members," Vexstar said. His voice was like a snake hissing. "We have a problem. The humans are spreading through our space like a disease." Many aliens in the room made sounds of agreement. Some clicked their claws. Others buzzed their wings. A few stamped their feet on the metal floor. Vexstar walked back and forth as he talked. "These soft mammals think they can go anywhere they want. They build colonies in our territory. They take resources that belong to us. They act like they own the galaxy." A large alien with blue fur stood up. "What do you want us to do about it, Vexstar?" "We destroy them," Vexstar said. His teeth showed more when he smiled. "We show these humans that they cannot push us around. We make them fear us." More sounds of agreement filled the hall. But then something strange happened. A soft light began to glow from one corner of the room. All the aliens turned to look. The light came from Counselor Morden. He was very old. So old that no one remembered when he first joined the council. His body was made of clear crystal that changed colors when he moved. Right now, the crystal was glowing with a sad blue light. Morden moved slowly to the center of the hall. Each step made a sound like wind chimes. When he spoke, his voice was like music, but sad music. "Young Vexstar," Morden said. "You speak of war, but I must tell you something important. Do not attack the humans. If you do, they will never let you flee." The hall became quiet. Some aliens looked confused. Others looked angry. Vexstar laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Old Crystal, you worry too much. Humans are weak. They have been in space for less than 200 years. We have been traveling the stars for thousands of years." "Yes," said another alien. This one looked like a giant insect with armor covering his body. "My name is Commander Colfax. I lead the Hegemony War Fleet. I have seen human ships. They are small and slow. Their weapons are like toys compared to ours." Colfax walked forward. His metal boots made loud sounds on the floor. "We have plasma cannons that can destroy entire cities in one shot. We have shields that can stop any weapon humans have. We have ships that are 10 times bigger than anything they can build." Many aliens cheered when Colfax finished speaking. They thought he was very brave and strong, but Morden did not cheer. His crystal body turned a darker blue. "Commander, you think only about weapons and ships. But war is not just about who has the biggest guns. Then what is it about, old one?" Colfax asked. He did not sound respectful. Morden was quiet for a long moment. His crystal body began to show images inside it. The images moved like a movie. They showed planets burning. They showed ships exploding. They showed aliens running in fear. "Long ago," Morden said, "I watched a species make the same mistake you want to make now. They were called the Vortec. They were proud and strong, just like you. They had the best weapons in the galaxy." The images in Morden's body changed. Now they showed strange alien creatures with too many arms and legs. The Vortec found a young species on a small planet. This young species was just learning to travel in space. The Vortec thought they were no threat, so the Vortec decided to take the young species as slaves. More images appeared in Morden's crystal body. They showed the young species being captured and put in chains. At first, everything went as the Vortec planned. The young species seemed weak. They cried when they were captured. They begged for mercy. The Vortec laughed at them. Colfax crossed his arms. "See? Weak species stay weak. Strong species win." Morden's body flashed with red light. But the Vortec made one mistake. They hurt the children of the young species. They took babies from their mothers. They used the children as tools to make the adults work harder. The room became very quiet. Even the aliens who had been making noise stopped. What happened next was not what the Vortech expected, Morden continued. The young species stopped crying. They stopped begging. Instead, they began to learn. They watched everything the Vortech did. They remembered every face, every name, every ship. The images in Morden's body now showed something different. The young species were no longer in chains. They were building things, learning things, planning things. The young species had something the Vortech did not understand. When their children were threatened, they did not just get angry. They got focused. They worked together in ways the Vortech had never seen. Vexstar made a sound of annoyance. Get to the point, Crystal. What happened to the Vortech? Morden's body turned completely black for a moment. The Vortech no longer exist. The young species hunted them across the galaxy. It took 300 years, but they found every single Vortech, every ship, every colony, every hiding place. Impossible, Colfax said. One species cannot destroy another completely, can they not? Morden asked. The young species did not just fight the Vortech, they studied them. They learned their language, their culture, their history. They found out where every Vortech came from. They tracked down every friend and family member. The crystal being moved closer to Colfax. The young species did not just want to win the war. They wanted to make sure that no Vortech would ever hurt children again. So they made sure there were no Vortech left to hurt anyone. Some aliens in the room began to look worried. They had never heard this story before. You see, Morden said, when you threaten the children of some species, you do not just make enemies. You create something much worse. You create a force that will never stop, never give up, and never forgive. Vexstar waved his hand like he was brushing away a fly. Old stories, Crystal. The humans are not like your mysterious young species. Humans are soft. They care too much about being nice. They try to talk instead of fight. Yes, Colfax agreed. I have studied human behavior. When we attack them, they will try to negotiate. They will offer us deals. They will give us what we want just to avoid war. Morden looked at both of them. His crystal body was now glowing with a strange purple light. You think caring makes them weak? But you are wrong. Caring makes them dangerous in ways you cannot imagine. How? Vexstar asked. Because when someone cares deeply about something, they will do anything to protect it. Anything at all. They will learn new skills. They will build new weapons. They will change themselves if they have to. Morden turned to face the entire council. The humans call their children the most important thing in their lives. They have sayings about it. They say that a parent will move mountains to protect their child. They say that love makes them stronger than any weapon. Sentimental nonsense, Colfax said. Is it? Morden asked. Tell me, Commander, what would you do if someone hurt your offspring? Colfax was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I would kill them, and if they ran away, I would chase them. For how long? Until I caught them? And if they hid on the other side of the galaxy? Colfax thought about this. I would find them eventually. Even if it took your whole life? Yes. Morden's crystal body flashed bright white. Now imagine an entire species that thinks like you do, but instead of just wanting revenge, they want to make sure it never happens again to anyone. The hall was completely silent now. Many aliens were beginning to understand what Morden was trying to tell them. I have seen what humans do when their young are threatened, Morden said. I have watched them from far away. They do not just fight, they solve problems. And if you attack their children, you become a problem that they will solve completely. Vexstar and Colfax looked at each other, but they had already made up their minds. We thank you for your warning, old crystal, Vexstar said. But we are not afraid of soft mammals who think with their feelings instead of their brains. Morden's light grew dim. Then I am sorry for what will happen to you. And I am sorry for the galaxy that will have to watch. The council meeting ended. Soon after, most aliens left talking excitedly about the coming war with humans. They thought it would be easy and quick, but Morden stayed in the hall long after everyone else was gone. His crystal body glowed with the deepest, saddest blue light anyone had ever seen. He had tried to warn them, but they would not listen. Soon, the galaxy would learn why some warnings should never be ignored. Captain Lee Hyon stood on the bridge of the colony ship New Seoul. Through the large window, he could see the stars getting brighter as they came out of faster-than-light travel. After 6 months in space, they had finally reached the Kepler 442. "System, Captain, we are now in normal space," said Lieutenant Park Sojin from her station. She was the ship's chief engineer, a smart woman who could fix anything that broke. "All systems are working perfectly," Hyon nodded and smiled. "Good work, Sojin. Kim Tae-ho, start scanning the system. Let's see what our new home looks like." Kim Tae-ho was the ship's communications officer. He was young but very good with languages and computers. His fingers moved quickly over his control panel. "Yes, sir." Beginning long-range scans now. The New Seoul was not a warship. It was built to carry families to new worlds. 3,000 people lived inside its metal walls. They had left Earth hoping to build a peaceful colony on a planet far from the crowded cities of home. Captain Hyon walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere in this system was Kepler 442b, a planet with water and air that humans could breathe. It would be their new home. "Hyon, come look at this." The voice belonged to Dr. Choi Min-ah, his wife. She was the colony's head scientist, an expert on alien life. She also happened to be the most important person in Hyon's world. He walked over to her workstation. On her screen were pictures of the planet they wanted to colonize. It was blue and green with white clouds moving across its surface. "It's beautiful," Hyon said. "Just like the pictures from Earth," Min-ah smiled. "Even better, the air is clean. There are no signs of intelligent life. We can build our colony anywhere we want." From across the bridge, their daughter Liu Jin looked up from her homework. She was 12 years old and very excited about living on a new planet. "Dad, when can we go down to the surface?" "Soon, little star," Hyon said. "First, we need to make sure everything is safe." But before he could say more, Kim Tae-ho called out from his station. His voice sounded worried. "Captain, I'm getting strange readings. There are objects moving toward us from behind the fourth planet." Hyon turned quickly. "What kind of objects?" "Ships, sir. Big ones. They just appeared out of nowhere." On the main screen, dots of light began to appear. As they got closer, the dots became clearer. They were huge metal ships, much bigger than the New Seoul. Their design was like nothing humans had ever seen. "How many?" I asked. 12 ships, sir. They're moving fast and heading straight for us." Dr. Min-ah looked at the screen with excitement instead of fear. "Hyon, do you know what this means?" "We found intelligent alien life. This could be the most important day in human history." Captain Hyon was more careful. "Kim, try to contact them. Use the universal peace signals we learned at the academy." Kim's hands moved over his controls. "Broadcasting on all frequencies, sir. I'm sending mathematical formulas, pictures, and music. All the things that show we're intelligent and peaceful." They waited. The alien ships kept getting closer. Then the speakers on the bridge made a sound. It was like static at first, then it became clearer. Kim had done something amazing. His computer had learned how to translate the alien language in real time. A voice spoke. It was cold and harsh. "Unknown vessel, you have entered hegemony space without permission. Identify yourselves immediately." Captain Hyon stepped forward. "Kim, send this message. We are humans from the planet Earth. We come in peace. We are looking for a new world to build a home. We mean no harm to anyone." The answer came quickly. "Humans. We know of your species. You are weak mammals who think you can go wherever you want. You will surrender your ship now or we will destroy you." Dr. Min-ah looked shocked. "They can't. Be serious. We haven't done anything wrong." On the screen, the alien ships were getting very close. Their weapons were glowing with bright energy. "Kim, send another message," Hyon said. "Tell them we don't want to fight. Tell them this system is big enough for both of us. We can share it peacefully." This time the response was different. A new voice spoke, deeper and more angry than the first. I am Commander Colfax of the Hegemony War Fleet. There will be no sharing humans. You will surrender now or watch your families die. Captain Hyon felt cold fear in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. Commander Colfax, please listen to reason. We have 3,000 people on this ship. Most of them are families with children. We are not soldiers. We just want to build a peaceful colony. Your children mean nothing to us, Colfax replied. Surrender or die. Dr. Minna stepped next to her husband. Commander, I am Dr. Choi Minna, a scientist. Maybe we can help each other. We have knowledge about biology and medicine. We could share what we know. There was silence for a moment. Then Colfax laughed. It was an ugly sound that made everyone on the bridge feel sick. Stupid mammals, he said. You think you have something we want? You think you can bargain with us? We are the hegemony. We take what we need and destroy what we don't. The alien ships were now very close. Captain Hin could see their weapons. Clearly, they were huge and obviously very powerful. Last chance, humans, Colfax said. Drop your shields and prepare to be boarded. Your ship and everything in it now belongs to the hegemony. Hyon looked around the bridge. Sojin was ready to fight, her hands on the weapon controls. Kim was still trying to find a peaceful solution, sending message after message. Minna was holding their daughter Yujin, who looked scared but tried to be brave. I will not surrender. My family to aliens who threaten children, Hyon said quietly. Captain, Sojin said, our weapons are not strong enough to fight 12 warships, but I can overload our engines. If we're going to die anyway, No, Hyon said firmly. We don't give up, and we don't take our own lives? Kim, send one more. Message. Kim nodded and spoke into his microphone. Commander Colfax, we refuse to surrender, but we also refuse to fight. We are peaceful people. If you attack us, you will be attacking innocent families who have done nothing wrong. The response was immediate. Then you have chosen death, mammals. The alien ships opened fire. Bright beams of energy hit the new soul from all sides. The ship's shields tried to protect them, but they were not strong enough. Explosions shook the bridge. Lights went out and came back on. Shields failing, Sojin shouted over the noise. Hull breach on decks 7 through 12. More weapons. Fire hit the ship. This time the damage was much worse. The bridge shook so hard that people fell to the floor. Minna, take Yujin to the escape pods, Hyon ordered his wife. I'm not leaving you, she said. Someone needs to survive to tell Earth what happened here, Hyon replied. Take our daughter and go. That's an order from your captain and a request. From your husband. Dr. Minna looked at him with tears in her eyes. She knew he was right. She picked up Yujin and ran toward the door, but they were too late. A massive explosion tore through the ship. The new soul broke apart like a toy. In seconds, the colony ship that had carried 3,000 dreams became burning metal floating in space. Most of the people died instantly. But some escape pods managed to launch before the final explosion. They drifted away from the wreckage like seeds blown by the wind. Commander Colfax watched the destruction from his command ship. Sir, one of his officers said, we're detecting several escape pods. Should we rescue the survivors? Colfax smiled, showing his sharp teeth. No, but we shouldn't let them get away either. Hunt them down, kill them all. I want no witnesses to report what happened here. Even the children, sir? Especially the children. Dead children can't grow up to become enemies. The Hegemony War. Ships spread out across the system. They began hunting the escape pods one by one. Each time they found one, they destroyed it with their weapons. They made recordings of each kill to show other species what happened to those who disobeyed the hegemony. In one of the escape pods, engineer Park So-jin held 5 children close to her. They were scared and crying, asking for their parents who would never answer again. Don't worry, she told them. Help is coming. Someone will find us. But through the small window, she could see a hegemony ship getting closer. Its weapons were already glowing. So-jin activated the pod's emergency transmitter. This is Engineer Park So-jin of the colony ship New Seoul. We are under attack by alien forces calling themselves the Hegemony. They destroyed our ship without warning. They're hunting down survivors, including children who tried to surrender. The alien ship was very close now. If anyone receives this message, So-jin continued, tell Earth what happened here. Tell them that we came in peace and they killed us anyway. Tell them. The escape pod disappeared in a flash of light. Commander Colfax counted the destroyed pods on his screen. 47 pods eliminated, no survivors. Mission complete, sir, his officer reported. Good, Colfax replied. Send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them we have dealt with another human invasion. Tell them the hegemony protects all civilized species from the human threat. But Colfax had made a mistake. In his excitement to kill humans, he had not checked his work carefully. He thought he had destroyed all 47 escape pods. He had actually destroyed 40-6.1 pod, damaged and barely working, drifted silently through space. Its emergency beacon was broken, its life support was failing. But inside, 2 people were still alive. They had seen everything. They had recorded everything. The last escape pod from the New Seoul drifted through empty space like a broken bird. Inside, 2 people breathed slowly to save air. Dr. Nam Junho, the colony's medical officer, held his broken arm against his chest. Next to him, Teacher Miss Yu Hai-jin tried to keep 3 frightened children calm. Are we going to die? Asked 8-year-old Choi Soo-min, the youngest survivor. No, sweetheart, Hai-jin lied gently. Help is coming. But she knew the truth. Their pod was damaged. The communication system was broken. The life support would only last 2 more days. They were alone in a system controlled by aliens who wanted them dead. Junho looked at the small recording device in his good hand. Before the ship exploded, he had managed to save the bridge recordings. Everything was there. The peaceful first contact, the demands for surrender, and the cold-blooded murder of 3,000 innocent people. We have to get this back to Earth, he whispered to Hai-jin. She nodded. If we don't make it, maybe someone will find the pod later. 3 days later, a human patrol ship picked up their weak distress signal. The crew of the Bisung Guardian found 5 survivors who were almost dead from lack of air. But more importantly, they found the recording that would change everything. 2 weeks after that, the recording played in the emergency session of the United Earth Defense Council. The huge meeting room was completely silent as the voices of the dead spoke from the screen. They heard Captain Lee Hyeon trying to make peace. They heard Dr. Choi Min-ah offering to share human knowledge. They heard Commander Colfax laughing. As he ordered the murder of children, Admiral Song Jae-won sat at the head of the long table. He was a tall man with gray hair and cold eyes. He had fought in 3 wars, but he had never seen anything like this. When the recording ended, he was quiet for a long time. How many? He finally asked. Colonel Han Dae-yoon, his chief of staff, looked at her report. 3,047 people, sir, including 812 children under the age of 16. Any survivors besides the 5 we rescued? No, sir. The aliens hunted down every escape pod they made. Recordings of each kill and sent them to other species as a warning. Admiral Song's hands were flat on the table. His knuckles were white. Show me, Colonel Han hesitated. Sir, the recordings are very difficult to watch. Show me. The screen came alive again. This time it showed the hunt. Hegemony ships chasing. Small escape pods through space. Families screaming for mercy as alien weapons charged up. Children crying for their parents as their pods exploded. One recording showed Engineer Park So-jin in her final moments. She was holding 5 children, trying to comfort them as death approached. Her last words were clear. Tell Earth what happened here. Tell them we came in peace. Another recording showed a pod full of teenagers who had been part of the colony's school program. They had sent a message to their friends back home just before they died. We love you all. Don't let them say we were the bad guys. We just wanted to see the stars. Admiral Song watched every recording. He did not look away. He did not close his eyes. When the last one finished, the room was completely silent. "Colonel Han," he said quietly, "how long since the attack?" 18 days, sir. Current location of the hegemony fleet? Unknown, sir. They left their Kepler 442 system 12 days ago. Intelligence thinks they returned to their home territory? Song stood up slowly. Send a message to all fleet commanders. I want every ship we have ready for immediate deployment. Send another message to the research division. I want our best weapons, our fastest ships, and our smartest people working on this problem. Sir, said General Park Min-woo, head of Earth's military forces, the hegemony has superior technology. Their ships are bigger and more powerful than ours. A direct military response might not be wise? Admiral Song turned to look at him. His eyes were like ice. General, they murdered 3,000 civilians. They hunted children through space like animals. They recorded it for entertainment. What response would you suggest? Diplomatic protest through the Galactic Council, sir. Economic sanctions, maybe a trade embargo. And when they ignore our protests and kill more colonists? General Park shifted uncomfortably. We could ask other species for help. The same species who watched them broadcast the murder recordings and did nothing. Song's voice was getting colder. The same species who probably cheered when they saw human children dying. Sir, I understand your anger, but we have to be realistic about our chances. Admiral Song walked to the window that looked out over Earth's capital city. Millions of people lived down there. Many of them had family and friends on colony ships scattered across the galaxy. Colonel Han, he said without turning around, what is the current status of Project Nemesis? Colonel Han looked surprised. Sir, that project was classified as theoretical only. We were told never to actually build the systems. I'm unclassifying it. How long to make it operational? If we use every resource we have, maybe 6 months, sir. You have 3 months? And Colonel? Yes, sir? Activate the volunteer corps. Send word to every human colony, every research station, every mining operation. Tell them what happened to the new soul. Ask for volunteers. General Park stood up. Admiral, what exactly are you planning? Song turned away from the window. The aliens think we're soft because we prefer peace. They think we're weak because we try to talk instead of fight. They think they can murder our children and we'll just file a complaint. He walked back to the table and put both hands on it. They're about to learn that they made a very big mistake. What mistake is that, sir? They think being peaceful means being helpless. They don't understand that we choose peace because we know what war really costs. But when someone forces us to choose between peace and protecting our families, closed, there is no choice at all. Colonel Han looked at her tablet. Sir, I'm getting reports from across human space. Word about the new soul is spreading. Colonists are demanding protection. Some are calling for revenge. And what are our other colony ships doing? Most are changing course to return to Earth-controlled space, but sir... The Ancient Dream and the Daegu Hope are both close to hegemony territory. They're requesting permission to investigate the attack site. Denied. Tell them to return to base immediately. They're not responding to the order, sir. Captain Yoon Subin of the Ancient Dream sent a message. She says she won't run while aliens hunt human children. Admiral Song almost smiled. Almost. What kind of ship is the Ancient Dream? Modified cargo vessel, sir. Captain Yoon converted it herself. It's fast, but not heavily armed. Tell Captain Yoon that if she goes to Kepler 442, she goes alone. Number. Support. No backup, no rescue if things go wrong. Sir, that's practically a death sentence. Yes, it is. Send the message anyway. Colonel Han typed quickly on her tablet. A few minutes later, a response came back. Captain Yoon's reply, sir. Understood. See you when we get back. Or don't. This time Admiral Song did smile. It was not a nice smile. Over the next few days, more reports came in. The Daegu Hope had also ignored orders and headed for the attack site. 3 research ships had changed course to join them. A mining vessel had volunteered to carry supplies. But the most interesting report came from Dr. Oh Hyun Woo, Earth's head of military technology. He walked into Admiral Song's office carrying a small device that looked like a metal cube. "Admiral, I have something to show you," Dr. O said. "We've been working on this since you activated Project Nemesis." "What is it?" "Phase drive technology. It lets a ship exist in normal space and subspace at the same time. For about 30 seconds, we can put a ship anywhere we want without going through normal travel." Song picked up the cube. It was heavier than it looked. "Anywhere?" "Anywhere, sir, even inside enemy shields." "How many ships can we equip with this? Right now, maybe 20? But we're building more every day." Admiral Song set the cube down carefully. "Dr. O, I want you to give the first one too." "Captain Yoon Subin." "Sir, the technology is still experimental. We don't know all the risks." "Captain Yoon is already risking her life to investigate what happened to our people. The least we can do is give her a way to fight back." Dr. O nodded. "I'll have it ready in 48 hours. That evening, Admiral Song stood alone in his office, looking at pictures of the new Seoul survivors. Dr. Nam Junho was recovering in a hospital. Teacher Yu Hai-jin was helping other families understand what had happened to their loved ones. The 3 children were staying with relatives. Trying to forget the terrible things they had seen, a soft knock came at his door. "Come in." Colonel Han entered with another report. "Sir, we're getting volunteer applications faster than we can process them. Every major colony has sent people. Even the research stations are offering to help. How many so far?" 200,000, sir, and more coming every hour." Song was quiet for a moment. "Colonel, do you know what the aliens call us?" "Sir?" "Soft mammals." "That's what Commander Colfax called us in the recording." "Soft mammals who think with our feelings instead of our brains." "Yes, sir, I heard that. He was right about one thing. We do think with our feelings. When we see injustice, we feel angry. When innocents are threatened, we feel protective. When our children are murdered, we feel ... darkest." Song turned to look at her. "The aliens made one very big mistake, Colonel. They think feeling makes us weak. They don't you?" Captain Yoon Subin stood on the bridge of her ship Inchin's Fury. The name was new. 3 weeks ago, her ship had been called Inchin's Dream, but after what she found at Kepler 442, dreams were the last thing on her mind. She had seen the wreckage. Pieces of the colony ship New Seoul still floated in space like a metal graveyard. She had counted the blast marks where escape pods had been hunted down and destroyed. She had recorded everything. Now her ship was different. Earth's best engineers had worked day and night to install new weapons and armor. Most importantly, they had given her something that no alien had ever seen before, a phase drive that could put her ship anywhere in the galaxy without warning. "Captain," said Lieutenant Bae Min-ho from his weapons station, "we're approaching the target area. The hegemony patrol should be here soon." Subin nodded. According to their intelligence, Commander Colfax's flagship Dominator followed the same patrol route every week. He was confident and careless, never thinking that anyone would dare attack him in his own territory. "Kim Dong-woo, what's our status on the phase drive?" Subin asked her engineer. Kim looked at his instruments. "All systems ready, Captain. We can phase jump at any time." "Good. Remember, we only get one chance at this. If we miss, we probably won't survive to try again." The crew was small but experienced. Every person on the bridge had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might not come home. They all had one thing in common. They had lost someone in the colonies. Lieutenant Bae had a sister on the New Seoul. Kim Dong-woo's parents had been planning to join the next colony ship. Communications officer Lee Sang-min had grown up dreaming of living on alien worlds until the hegemony showed him what happened to humans who tried. "Contact on sensors," Lee Sang-min reported. "Large ship approaching from the north. It matches the profile for the Dominator." Through the main window, they could see the massive hegemony warship. It was 10 times bigger than the Inchin's Fury and covered with weapons that could destroy a planet. "They're scanning us," Lee said. "Incoming transmission." The voice that came through the speakers was cold and familiar. Commander Colfax had not bothered to change his communication frequency since the massacre. Unknown vessel, you are in hegemony space without permission. Identify yourself immediately or be destroyed. Captain Subin smiled. It was not a happy smile. Lee, open a channel. Channel open, Captain. Commander Colfax, this is Captain Yoon Subin of the human vessel, Inchin's Fury. We're here to discuss your recent visit to the Kepler 442 system. There was silence for a moment, then Colfax laughed. Ah, another group of soft mammals who want to negotiate. Did you bring offerings? Maybe you have something valuable to trade for your lives? Actually, we brought something much better than trade goods. What could pathetic humans possibly have that interests the hegemony? Subin's voice turned ice-cold. Justice. Before Colfax could respond, she gave the order. Kim, phase jump. Put us inside their shields. The universe twisted around the Inchin's Fury. For a moment that felt like forever, they existed in two places at once. Then reality snapped back into focus. They were inside the hegemony ship. The bridge of the Dominator was huge and filled with alien technology. Dozens of hegemony officers turned to stare in shock at the human ship that had appeared in their most protected space. Impossible, Colfax whispered. Fire all weapons, Subin ordered. The Inchin's Fury unleashed everything it had. Plasma cannons, missile launchers, and energy beams tore through the alien bridge. The hegemony officers barely had time to scream before their command center became a burning ruin. But Subin was not done. She had not come here just to destroy a ship. She had come for information. They, prepare boarding pods. Kim, can you keep us stable inside their hull? For a few minutes, Captain. But their damage control teams will try to cut us out. A few minutes is all we need. The boarding action was swift and brutal. Lieutenant Bay led a team of Marines through the wrecked bridge, stunning any aliens who were still alive. Within minutes, they had captured Commander Colfax and dragged him back to their ship. The alien commander was bleeding from several wounds, but he was conscious and angry. You mammals dare to board a hegemony vessel? When my fleet finds you, they will make your deaths last for days. Captain Subin knelt down to look at him. Your fleet won't find us, Commander. Do you know why? Because you will run away like cowards? No, because in about 10 minutes your ship is going to explode. And we're going to make sure everyone knows it was an engine failure. Colfax's eyes went wide. You're going to murder me? Murder? Subin stood up. No, Commander. Murder is what you did to 3,000 innocent people. Murder is hunting children through space for entertainment. What we're doing is solving a problem. She nodded to her crew. Kim, set the charges. Make it look like their reactor overloaded. As her engineer worked, Subin continued talking to Colfax. Before you die, you're going to tell us everything. Fleet positions, command codes, supply routes, planet locations. Every piece of information we need to find your friends. I will tell you nothing, mammal, Subin smiled sadly. Yes, you will, because we have something your species doesn't understand. What? Time. We're very patient when it comes to getting answers. And we're very creative when it comes to asking questions. 2 hours later, the Dominator exploded in what looked like an accident. The blast was so big that it could be seen from 3 star systems away. Hegemony rescue ships found no survivors and no evidence of attack. But they did find one escape pod, drifting just far enough away to be believable. Inside was a single hegemony officer, badly injured and barely alive. When he recovered enough to speak, he told a terrifying story. The humans, he gasped. They came from nowhere. Inside our shields, inside our ship. They knew everything about us. The hegemony commanders who heard his story did not believe it at first. Human ships were small and slow. Human weapons were weak. It was impossible for them to appear inside hegemony defenses. But then more ships started disappearing. A supply convoy vanished between 2 star systems. A military outpost went silent and was found empty when relief forces arrived. A recruitment center on the hegemony homeworld exploded during a ceremony, killing dozens of high-ranking officers. Each attack was different, but they all had the same signature. No warning, no trace of how the attackers got in or out. And always, one survivor left behind to tell the story. Admiral Song J1 read the reports from his command ship Seoul Rising. The name honored the colony that should have been. His strategy was working perfectly. "Colonel Han, what's our current count?" he asked. 47 successful strikes, sir. We've eliminated 6 command ships, 12 supply depots, and 23 smaller vessels. The hegemony is starting to pull back from their outer territories. Good, but not good enough. What about their leadership? We've identified the main commanders who participated in the New Seoul massacre. Captain Yoon's interrogation of Colfax gave us excellent intelligence. Song looked at the star charts on his screen. Red dots marked hegemony positions. Blue dots showed human forces. The red dots were getting fewer every day. The Hegemony Council is meeting tomorrow, Colonel Han continued. They're probably going to discuss the attacks? Let them discuss. Actions matter more than words. Song turned to his communications officer. Send a message to all strike teams. Phase 2 begins now. What's Phase 2, sir? We've been hitting their military. Now we hit their support systems. Supply lines, communication networks, repair facilities. Everything they need to keep their war machine running. Colonel Han looked concerned. Sir, that's a lot of targets. We might spread ourselves too thin. Colonel, the aliens think they're fighting a traditional war. Ships versus ships, weapons versus weapons. They don't understand what kind of war this really is. What kind is it, sir? Song's voice was quiet but certain. This isn't a war, Colonel. This is an extermination. We're not trying to defeat the hegemony. We're removing them from existence. Across the galaxy, human strike teams received their new orders. Ships with phased drives appeared at hegemony facilities without warning. Each attack was perfectly planned and executed with surgical precision. A major shipyard disappeared overnight along with all the ships under construction. A communication hub was replaced with a crater so perfect it looked like art. The hegemony's main military academy simply vanished, leaving behind only empty buildings and confused survivors. But the humans didn't just destroy things. They took them apart piece by piece, studying every component, learning every secret. Each attack made the next one easier and more devastating. In his private quarters, Commander Vexstar received an encrypted message from his spy network. The report made his hands shake as he read it. The humans had not just destroyed hegemony facilities. They had infiltrated them. Human agents were now embedded in hegemony society at every level. They had access to classified information, personal records, and family data. Vexstar realized with growing horror that the humans knew where he lived. They knew where his offspring went to school. They knew his daily routine, his favorite restaurants, his secret bank accounts. The message ended with a simple statement. We know who you are, what you've done, and where to find you. Justice is coming. Similar messages were delivered to every. Ambassador Vexstar had not slept in 3 days. Every shadow in his room looked like a human assassin. Every sound in the hallway made him jump. The message he had received still glowed on his personal computer. We know who you are. His hands shook as he tried to eat breakfast. The food tasted like metal. Everything reminded him of the recordings he had seen from destroyed hegemony ships. The taste of fear, the smell of burning electronics, the sound of his people screaming as humans appeared from nowhere. A soft knock came at his door. Vexstar grabbed the plasma pistol from his desk. Who is it? General Qualex, sir, we need to talk. Vexstar opened the door carefully. The hegemony's top military commander looked as scared as he felt. Qualex's armor was dirty and his eyes kept moving around the room like he expected an attack. They're everywhere, Qualex whispered as he entered. My intelligence officers found human infiltrators in 17 different military bases. 17. How is that possible? I don't know, Vexstar replied. 3 months ago, humans were nothing. Weak mammals with primitive technology. Now they're inside our most secure facilities. Qualex sat down heavily in a chair. It's worse than infiltration, Vexstar. They're not just watching us. They're learning everything about us, our languages, our customs, our fears. What do you mean? Yesterday, a human agent was caught in the capital city. Before security killed him, he spoke perfect hegemony formal dialect. He knew our military ranks, our religious ceremonies, our family structures. He even knew my daughter's name. Vexstar felt cold fear in his stomach. Your daughter? How could they know about her? That's what scares me. This wasn't just intelligence gathering. He knew personal details that only family members should know. What food she likes, what games she plays, where she goes to school. Both aliens sat in silence for a moment. The implications were terrifying. If humans knew about their families, nowhere was safe. There's something else, Quillex continued. The human didn't act like a spy when we caught him. He acted like he was exactly where he wanted to be. What do you mean? He smiled, Vexstar. When our soldiers surrounded him, he smiled and said, Message delivered? Then he activated some kind of device and disappeared. Disappeared how? Like he was never there. Our sensors couldn't track where he went. But 30 minutes later, every computer in the military compound received the same message. Your children are not safe while our children are dead. Vexstar's breakfast fell from his hands. The plate crashed on the floor, but he didn't notice. They're threatening our offspring? Not threatening, promising. The message included detailed maps of our homes, our children's schools, their daily schedules, everything. The room felt smaller. Suddenly, Vexstar looked at the walls like they might be closing in. What does the High Command want us to do? That's why I'm here. The Supreme Leader is calling an emergency meeting. All regional commanders, all political leaders, everyone who supported the human extermination order. When? In 2 hours. Maximum security bunker, 50 levels underground. The safest place in hegemony space. Vexstar almost laughed. Safe? General, if humans can appear inside our military bases, do you really think underground walls will stop them? Before Quillex could answer, both of their communication devices began beeping. Urgent messages were coming in from across hegemony. Territory. Vexstar read his messages with growing horror. Supply convoy Delta 7 has vanished. Communication hub on Trixel Prime is offline. The orbital defense platform around our capital world has gone silent. Quillex read his own messages. Mining operation on Kelter destroyed. 3 more command. Ships missing. The academy on Varjith has been abandoned. Everyone just walked away and left. Walked away? That's what the survivors say. Human agents appeared in the middle of classes and simply told everyone to leave. No weapons, no threats. They just said this facility is now closed and everyone left. Why would our people obey humans? Quillex's voice was quiet. Because the humans knew everyone's real names, their family histories, their personal secrets. When someone knows everything about you, disobedience becomes very dangerous. The 2 aliens looked at each other with the same thought. If humans could make entire facilities empty just by asking, what else could they do? An hour later, Vexstar and Quillex rode an elevator deep underground to the emergency meeting. The bunker was built to survive planet-killing weapons. The walls were made of the strongest materials in the galaxy. The defense systems could stop entire armies, but as they descended, both aliens wondered if any of that mattered against an enemy who could appear anywhere. The meeting room was full of frightened leaders. Supreme Leader Corthel sat at the head of a long table, his usually perfect appearance now disheveled and nervous. Around him sat the most powerful beings in hegemony space, all looking like they had seen ghosts. The situation is unacceptable, Corthel began. These humans are making us look weak. Our people are starting to question our strength. Regional Commander Vexcall raised a clawed hand. Supreme Leader, with respect, our people are right to question us. We have lost more military assets in 3 months than we lost in the last century of wars. Impossible. Humans are primitives, are they? Vexcall asked. Because primitive species don't usually infiltrate our most secure facilities. They don't usually make our soldiers disappear without a trace. And they certainly don't usually know the personal details of our families. Murmurs of agreement spread around the table. These were proud beings who had conquered dozens of worlds, but humans had reduced them to hiding underground like frightened animals. What do our intelligence services say? Corthel demanded. Chief Intelligence Officer Morvax stood up. He looked tired and defeated. Supreme Leader, human capabilities have exceeded all our projections. They appear to have technology that our scientists say is impossible. Explain. They can put ships anywhere in space without traveling through normal routes. They can make people vanish without leaving traces. They have infiltrated our society so completely that we cannot trust our own security forces. How many human agents are in our territory? Morvac hesitated. We don't know, Supreme Leader. Every time we think we've found them all, more appear. It's like they can create new agents from thin air. Supreme Leader Corthel slammed his fist on the table. This is ridiculous. They're just mammals. How can mammals be more advanced than the hegemony? Perhaps, said a quiet voice from the corner, we underestimated what mammals can do when their children are threatened. Everyone turned to look. In the shadows sat Counselor Rexstar, the oldest member of the hegemony leadership. He rarely spoke. But when he did, others listened. Explain, Corthel ordered. I have been studying human behavior since the attacks began, Rexstar said. Their response patterns are unlike any species we have fought before. How? Most species fight until they win or until they lose. Humans fight until the problem is solved permanently. They don't want to defeat us. They want to make sure we can never threaten their offspring again. The room was silent. Rexstar continued. When we destroyed their colony ship, we thought we were eliminating a threat. But we were actually creating something much more dangerous. We gave humans a reason to redesign their entire civilization around the goal of hunting us. That's impossible, Holex protested. No species can change that quickly, can't they? In 3 months, humans have developed new technologies, infiltrated our society, and turned our own strength against us. They have shown capabilities that our best scientists say should take centuries to develop. Rexstar stood up slowly. I think we made the same mistake that ancient Counselor Morden warned us about in the Galactic Council. We attacked their children, and now they will never stop hunting us. Then what do you suggest? Corthel asked. Immediate surrender, full reparations, complete withdrawal from human space, and pray that they are merciful. The room erupted in angry voices. Several commanders jumped to their feet, shouting about hegemony, pride, and honor, but their arguments were interrupted by a new sound. A soft humming filled the air, like machinery starting up. The lights in the bunker began to flicker. What's happening? Corthel demanded. Chief Engineer Volkim checked his instruments. His face went pale. Supreme Leader, something is interfering with our power systems. The defense shields are failing. Impossible. This bunker is 50 levels underground. No one can reach us here? The humming sound got louder. Then, in the center of the meeting room, the air began to shimmer. A human appeared. He was young, probably in his 20s, wearing a simple uniform. He looked completely calm as he stood surrounded by the most powerful aliens in hegemony space. Weapons appeared in dozens of hands, all pointed at the human. But he didn't seem concerned. My name is Lieutenant Nam Ji Isu, he said in perfect hegemony language. I represent the United Earth Defense Council. Kill him. Corthel screamed, but before anyone could fire, the human continued speaking. Before you do that, you should know that this entire facility is now under human control. Your defense systems, your communications, your life support, all of it. As if to prove his point, the lights went out. Emergency lighting came on, casting strange shadows around the room. We have a message for you, Lieutenant Nam said. From Admiral Song J1, Supreme Commander of Human Forces. A voice filled the room. The hour passed like a lifetime in the underground bunker. Supreme Leader Corthel stared at the screen showing his family surrounded by human soldiers. His wife and 3 children looked confused but unharmed. The humans had not hurt them. But the message was clear, they could at any moment. Time's up, said a voice from the speakers. It was Admiral Song J1, speaking from somewhere far away but somehow able to reach into their most secure bunker. Corthel looked around the table at his fellow leaders. They all had the same expression, defeat. For the first time in their lives, these proud conquerors knew what it felt like to be helpless. We surrender, Corthel said quietly. Louder, Admiral Song's voice commanded. We surrender. Corthel shouted, his voice breaking. All of you. One by one, every hegemony leader in the room spoke the words. We surrender. Their voices echoed in the bunker like a funeral song. Good, Admiral Song replied. Now you will listen to our terms. The screens changed to show Admiral Song himself. He was sitting in what looked like a simple office, but behind him was a window showing the stars. He looked calm, like he was discussing the weather instead of the fate of an entire civilization. The hegemony as a government no longer exists, he said. All military forces will be disbanded. All weapons will be surrendered. All territory claimed by the hegemony will be placed under human administration. That's impossible, General Kolex protested. We have billions of people across hundreds of worlds. Yes, you do. And every one of them will learn to live peacefully, or they will learn what happens to those who threaten human children. Admiral Song leaned forward. You see, General, we have a problem. The hegemony leadership decided that murdering human families was acceptable policy. We disagree. The screen split to show images from across hegemony space. Human ships were already in orbit around major worlds. Human soldiers were walking through the streets of alien cities. But strangely, there was no fighting, no destruction. What are you doing to our people? Vexstar asked. Teaching them, Admiral Song replied. Every hegemony citizen will attend classes about the New Soul Massacre. They will learn the names of every human who died. They will see the recordings of your forces hunting children through space. They will understand exactly what their government did in their name. You're brainwashing them? We're educating them. There's a difference. Brainwashing makes people believe lies. Education makes them understand the truth. The screens showed more images. Hegemony children sitting in classrooms, watching holographic displays that showed the human colony ship before it was destroyed. Teachers, human teachers, explaining how families had just wanted to build a new home among the stars. Your people are not evil, Admiral Song continued, but they were led by evil leaders who thought murder was a solution to political problems. We're going to make sure that never happens again. Supreme Leader Corthel found his voice. What about us? The leadership? Admiral Song's expression didn't change. You will face justice. What kind of justice? The same kind you gave the families? On the New Soul, but we're more civilized than you are, so you'll get a trial first. Lieutenant Namji Isu appeared in the bunker again, along with a dozen human soldiers. They moved with calm efficiency, placing restraints on each alien leader. You're arresting us? Corthel asked. Yes, Lieutenant Nam replied. You're all charged with genocide, crimes against sentient beings, and violation of galactic peace treaties. The Galactic Council will never allow this, Lieutenant Nam smiled. The Galactic Council has already voted, unanimously, apparently. Watching you broadcast the murder of children made quite an impression. As the human soldiers led them away, Vexstar called out, What about our families? You promised they wouldn't be harmed. And they won't be, Admiral Song's voice followed. Them. Unlike you, we keep our promises. Your families will be relocated to peaceful worlds where they can live normal lives. They'll just have to live with the knowledge of what their government did. The trial took place 3 months later, broadcast live to every world in the galaxy. The evidence was overwhelming. The recordings from the New Soul, the testimonies of survivors, the documented orders to hunt down escape pods. Everything was presented clearly and without emotion. The hegemony leaders tried to defend themselves. They claimed they were protecting their people from human expansion. They said the attack was unnecessary. Military action, but when the prosecution played the recording of Commander Colfax laughing as he ordered the murder of children, even their own lawyers looked ashamed. The verdicts were unanimous. Guilty on all charges, the sentences were simple. The leaders who had ordered the attack would spend the rest of their lives in prison. They would live in comfortable cells with good food and medical care. But they would never again see the stars they had once ruled. More importantly, they would spend every day listening to the voices of the people they had killed. The prison walls played recordings of the new soul families talking about their hopes and dreams, their plans for the new colony, their love for their children. Justice isn't about revenge. Admiral Song explained to the galaxy during his final broadcast about the trial. Justice is about making sure the innocent are remembered and the guilty understand the cost of their choices. Meanwhile, across former hegemony space, the transformation continued. Human administrators worked with local populations to build new governments based on peaceful cooperation instead of military conquest. It wasn't always easy. Some hegemony citizens resented the occupation. Some tried to resist. But the humans had learned important lessons about patience and persistence. When resistance groups formed, humans didn't respond with violence. Instead, they responded with more education. They brought the families of resistors to meet Dr. Nam Jun Ho and teacher Yu Hai Jin, the survivors of the New Soul massacre. "We don't want to rule you," Dr. Nam would tell them. "We want to make sure that what happened to our families never happens to anyone else's families." Most resistance melted away after those meetings. It's hard to hate someone who just wants to protect children. The process took years, but slowly, former hegemony worlds became peaceful members of the galactic community. They built schools instead of weapons factories. They sent explorers instead of conquest fleets. They learned to solve problems with words instead of plasma cannons. On the anniversary of the New Soul massacre, a memorial was built in orbit around Kepler 442b. It was a beautiful structure made of crystal and metal, with the names of all 3,000 victims carved into walls that caught and reflected starlight. Ambassador Park Yoonji, daughter of the engineer who had died protecting children in an escape pod, spoke at the dedication ceremony. Representatives from hundreds of species attended, including many former hegemony citizens. "My mother died believing that help was coming," she said. She was right, help did come, it just took a while. In the memorial central chamber, holographic displays showed the colony that the new soul passengers had planned to build. Virtual families walked through streets they had designed, children played in parks they had imagined, schools taught subjects they had wanted their offspring to learn. "This is what we lost," Ambassador Park continued. "Not just lives, but dreams. Not just people, but possibilities." The hegemony took these things away, thinking there would be no consequences. She looked out at the audience, which included former hegemony leaders' families who had come to pay their respects. But there are always consequences. The question is whether those consequences teach us to be better, or whether they just teach us to be afraid. Around the memorial, the colony that should have been was finally being built. Humans and former hegemony species worked together, clearing land and raising buildings under alien suns. Children of many species played together in the same parks their parents had once only dreamed about. The galaxy had learned important lessons. Species that had once looked the other way when the strong attacked the weak now spoke up for victims. The Galactic Council passed new laws protecting colonists and families. Trade agreements included clauses about protecting children and non-combatants, but the most important lesson was simpler and more personal. In schools across the galaxy, children learned about the new soul. They learned about Captain Lee Hyun trying to make peace. They learned about Dr. Choi Min offering to share knowledge. They learned about engineer Park So-jin protecting children even as death approached, and they learned about what happened when those peaceful people were murdered. "Humans don't fight wars," teachers would explain. "Humans solve problems. When you make their children a problem, you become a problem too." The children would ask, "What kind of problem?" "The kind that gets solved permanently." Years passed. The memorial around Kepler 442 became a pilgrimage site for beings from across the galaxy. They came to remember the cost of choosing violence over peace, of choosing fear over understanding. In the crystal walls of the memorial, visitors could see their own reflections mixed with the names of the dead. The message was clear: these could have been your names if you had made different choices. Admiral Song, now retired, visited the memorial every year. He would stand in the central chamber, reading the names and remembering the faces from the recordings. The anger that had once driven him was gone.